This was one crazy episode. Hey guys, it's CL, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I make brand new Critical Role recaps every Monday at noon, and would be happy to have you join the party. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit the Bertrand bell to be notified of future videos. Now, without further ado, let's discuss the 77th episode of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. We open with our trio of bitchy witches sneaking out to explore the quiet and dark halls of Whitestone Castle, unsure of where to go due to her foggy memories and trauma blocking. After Imogen farts, you just had to be there, she grazes her girlfriend's face and tries to delve into her memories. She gets a vision of a beautiful and ornate but long empty master bedroom. Fern uses Pass Without a Trace as they go to find it, and the trio, at one point, stumble into a cupboard of pots and pans, causing a clatter, but luckily Imogen's able to pass it off as getting a midnight snack when the worker checks in on her. Once they find the room, Laudna reveals she was actually tortured here. It's way worse than I thought. I thought that they had just tricked her into a dinner and killed her, but knowing that they tortured her, maybe even did experiments on her, I'm really looking forward to reading the origin story in the book that comes out next year about Laudna. After she fails to get into the room with her thieves' tools, Imogen has to summon a Rylauren through a keyhole just to unlock the door. I love it. And once inside, the ghoul remembers a secret passage behind a bookshelf. However, it seems to have been re-bricked by the Derolos. Written on it is a warning to little Gwendolyn to keep out. Luckily, Fern came packed with stone shape, so the trio get through and descend down to another large chamber, with tons of damaged furniture and broken glass covered by sheets and tarps. Frantically, Laudna begins to pull the fabrics, trying to regain some sort of closure from her time down here. However, the group are quickly interrupted by ghosts suddenly appearing, and they definitely recognize Delilah's presence. When Laudna takes her form of dread, it becomes very similar to that of Delilah, almost like she's in the room. More specters appear and try to force themselves into Imogen and Fern, but luckily they don't take effect. Laudna deepens into her Delilah vibe with her mirror image, dodging specter attacks, and Imogen uses lightning titties to save Laudna, stopping one. But she doesn't need too much help because with a quickened triple Eldritch Blast double natural 20 attack, Laudna vaporizes the rest of ghosts. And just as they're coming down to a moment of silence, Delilah speaks and was ready to answer some questions. A lot of it was stuff that we kind of already knew. She did say some interesting stuff, like Fern is a benevolent marriage between realms, and that Imogen is child of the God Eater. She may decide the future of the gods if her mother doesn't decide it first. She also revealed that Laudna is indeed dead, that Matilda is dead, and that they're bound together, their lifelines threaded. Just like Harry Potter, neither shall live while the other survives. I think Laudna is starting to come to terms with the idea that she's either going to have to go evil to get this power, or she's going to die, just trying to separate herself from Delilah. So she asks her friends, Imogen specifically, that they give her the gift of moving on should she die or become her puppet. And as they're leaving, she says to Delilah, "Let's do terrible and beautiful things." Orym and Fern have an adorable scene lit the next morning, where the fighter gives her some kind words and tells her how much she means to him. Which, I guess I'm paranoid because I was expecting a backstab, but instead he just gives her the stolen spyglass from the pirate ship. FCG wants to know what's in it for the members of the group who are actually going to the moon, why they're going. I mean, it's clear that FCG wants to save the gods, and Imogen wants some closure with her mother, but what about the rest of them? Chet claims glory, to leave a legacy, and Orym says he just wants it tomorrow for this world. Then they tell FCG that they smell a fish and prestidigitations their insides, and the group goes sledding. Ashton almost pelts some kids with stone-covered snowballs after one calls Orym old. It was a time. Imogen decides to go speak with the Dawn Father, and after some guidance, she gives up her white stone is for lovers t-shirt to the altar for communion. Though her call for help isn't answered by the god she intended, it seems the Matron of Ravens would like to have a conversation. As the Violet Witch stepped out and across the way, hears the call of a raven. but she denies it and goes back home. Orem buys some healing potions, a potion of heroism, and gets some Slayer's cake goodies delivered up top to the castle. Meanwhile, Ashton takes Fern on a walk around the clock tower, and they discuss who should take the shard. And they both agree it should be Ashton's, and they let her know that she's the only one they really trust, and that she'll do the right thing and won't stop what's meant to happen. They also call each other hot, and Fern clops away. The party then unites with the high-ranking individuals who will be able to help. Cassandra DeRollo joins this time along with her brother and Lady Allura. We find out that Residuum still works, not affected by the magic-wagicky fucker-wuckery, and Percy pitches an idea to use the automaton surrounding the key as a distraction, handing over 2 gadgets that can scramble or detonate the robots to create a diversion so that they can get up the blood bridge or whatever it's called. They also pitch a mass illusion of a magical onslaught by Allura on the outskirts to get them through. She then hands over 2 scrolls of mass non-detection, where for 8 hours they're hidden from those with divination abilities. She also hands a scroll of greater restoration to return Rin back to the land of the non-stone should they find her. We also get a dimension door scroll. She gifts 2 greater and 1 superior healing potions, and potions of speed and gaseous form. Matt's really prepping them, and it's scary because he doesn't give out the stuff lightly. Finally, we are gifted a jeweled baking tin for Heroes' Feasts. Percy knew what was going on. It was really funny. Now the part I assume you've all been waiting for. It's time for the shard to be absorbed through the sex harness. The Lord of Whitestone and Lady Allura lead them down to the ziggurat below, where she places a barrier around the top platform to protect the outside in case of disaster. Ashton requests he and Fern do this privately, as the party still think Fern is taking the shard and trust them despite the previous agreement that they secretly made with each other. Then, Ashton begins taking the power of the Fire Titan, and they quickly begin to break. The group had been warned that 2 shards inside of a person would just not work. They didn't listen. And Fern watches in horror as their rock exterior begins to crack, and painfully he loses a piece of his shoulder and then an arm. Fern casts Aura Vitality to allow them to continue, and at the shouts of worry and Ashton's screams, the rest of the party join them at the top to watch the horror. And Marisha and Laura look pissed, and rightfully so. The only reason our barbarian survives is because Fern and Letters keep the healing going long enough for the 10 rounds of rolls to succeed. He even died at one point, his body split into 1,000,000 pieces of shattered rock, only saved by the temporal salvation ring gifted to the gang by Deanna. As they reach the final round of rolls, Ashton's body begins to cool, and where his arm was is now a molten arm. He's becoming something different, maybe something to be in awe of, or to be scared of. Tell me how you guys felt about the episode in the comments below. It was so interesting to watch the Callomoore ship set sail and then crash just like that. The table also was incredibly tense, and it was really interesting to see an active betrayal play out on the show. If you even want to call it that, I don't know, is it technically the wrong thing? It was the wrong thing, but was it, But Matt's face was the most interesting the entire time for me. He had warned them, and you just watched the shock and the horror, but also the tinge of excitement crossing his features at all times during that last 40 minutes of the episode. It was crazy to experience. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my recaps of Campaign 3 on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Bidet, my friends.